Okay. Good evening, everyone. Good day, everyone. Uh, Greetings to you on whichever side of the time zone or the clock you may be. If you are on the PM side, good evening. On the AM side, good evening. Welcome to class. We started this journey yesterday, and we looked briefly at CIA Triad being the title for chapter 1. I will just use a few minutes to refresh our minds with what the CIA Triad is the pivot, the pillar of cybersecurity, information security, application security, data security, database security, whatever security measure you or your institution or as a consultant you're proposing to your clients to put in place. The primary consideration is CIA. And at the same time, there would hardly be any security implementation that will not factor CIA into it. Even if you are implementing security measure for authentication, authorization, or accountability, or for audit sake, or for non-repudiation. These are other security principles, security measures that can be implemented digitally or electronically, even physically too. Yes, because yesterday I told us, and I'm reiterating today, that cybersecurity is not just protection of digital assets or digital resources, but also protection of users. And we could see yesterday from one of the slides that there's even the job role for a cybersecurity trainer, or I would rather say the Office of Cybersecurity Awareness. Yes, as an awareness expert, you can apply your search for such vacancies. In fact, if you go to LinkedIn and search, you'll find lots of it there. Security awareness expert, security awareness consultant. So security, take it again, is not just protection of digital resources, but also users. So, and there's also physical security. Yes, there's physical security in cybersecurity, network security in cybersecurity, data security in it. So we're going to be looking at the physical later on. There's the place of CIA in physical security. Yes, we will talk more about this when we get to that segment. So the tripod, as we can see here in this slide, is confidentiality. I mean, it's the security tripod. It's confidentiality, integrity, availability. I did tell us that as well as committing confidentiality to mind, think about it in the light of authorized access. Please just bear that in mind, that confidentiality equals authorized access. So on the flip side, denial of unauthorized access. Please note that in digital security or in cyber security, information security, there is the authorized and unauthorized. That is, there is the protection against and there is the protection for. I hope you are getting me. And that is why we have the likes of defensive security, offensive security. So there is the protection by granting permission or authorizing an individual to access a digital resource. The commonest digital resource or electronic resource or IT resource, the commonest, if not the first IT resource that we are granted access, or user is granted access to is the computer system or gadgets. Let me put end user gadgets. I wouldn't want to say gadgets plainly because there are gadgets on their back-end gadgets. Because the router is a gadget, the firewall is a gadget, an IPS, an IDS, an intrusion prevention and intrusion detection system. They're all gadgets. These end user gadgets, mobile, be it laptop or phones or tabs, and then you got desktops, the all user devices, including printers, be it standalone printers or ensuring that only an authorized user can access these resources, whether at the back end or at the front end, even at the middle. Oh, middleware. Yes, there is middleware, which we popularly call interface. Okay, middleware usually acts as interface between the front end, where the users are, and the back end. Applications often used by the user at the front end are usually called the client's applications, while the one at the back end are called server applications. So there's usually this go in between, an interface that brings the user with, okay, sorry, is any other person having that experience? Just complain that it's breaking in between?
Yes.
Oh, how is it now? Is it better?
Yeah, it's better now.
Okay. Sorry, where I am is raining terribly. I'm sorry about that. So I want to believe that the weather condition is affecting, it's raining terribly now. So sorry about that. It's not meant to be an excuse, but technology has always has this way with the elements of nature. Okay. So protecting access is confidentiality. So if we want to enforce who can access, who should not access, you're talking about confidentiality. Then granting access, permission, authorization to modify is what we classify as integrity. So integrity in this slide, only an authorized user can modify the digital state of a resource, either logically, physically, or virtually. So every resource in any of these three states are open to modification. For physical, of course, the network infrastructure can be refactorized. Sorry, there's this concept in network engineering and also in software development to call it factorization and refactorization. So the network configuration, let's say for instance, an existing network configuration can be reconstructed or redesigned without necessarily changing gadgets. Hope you're getting me. So of course you're modifying the states of that network infrastructure, and that affects integrity also if it is not permitted. So integrity is protection or authorization. Is a cybersecurity principle which ensures that only authorized individuals can modify the states of a resource. Then availability is protection of usage. So for confidentiality is protection of access, which could be authorized or unauthorized. Integrity is the protection of modification, which can be authorized or unauthorized. I hope you are getting it. So you might deny. That means the individual is not, you are not authorizing the individual. So as you are not authorizing, you deny the right to what? Modify, you deny access. Then for availability is usage. You're protecting the use of digital resources, be it physical, logical, or virtual. So that's availability. And all of these, as simple as it is said, have very deep implementation. As we go on this journey, I will shed more light. I don't want to make CIA Triad complex at this level. Yes, I can extend it continuously using instances. to buttress confidentiality, integrity, availability, but no, I wouldn't do that now because they continue on the journey of cybersecurity. So as we go on, I will talk more about these three, and but then I need you to note for the opt-in time, protection of access is confidentiality, the protection of modification or alteration, or protection against unauthorized. Now, concept of authorized and unauthorized. Protection against unauthorized modification is integrity, and also protection of what? The use of digital resources is availability. So, in other sense, we can say confidentiality is protecting digital resources, ensuring that only authorized users can access. Or you can say on the flip side, confidentiality is the protection against unauthorized access. I hope you get it now. Protection of digital resources so that only authorized individuals can access it, or protection against unauthorized access. In the same way, integrity, protection of digital resources against unauthorized modification or authorizing modification. Then availability is the protection of what? Digital resources, ensuring only authorized users can use. Please note, you may want to ask a question that if I can access, can't I use? No. It's not all access that grants you the permission to use. Because you can view, but you may not be able to copy, you may not be able to download, you may not be able to modify, you may not be able to transfer, you may not be able to attach. Attachment is part of using. Sharing is part of using. I hope you're getting me. They're all within the scope of what? Of usage or utilization. So you may just log in, gain access, and there's nothing you can do there. That means you're not able to use it. You're unable to use the resources which you just gain access into, even if you're authorized to access, but you cannot use. Hope that is clear. Okay, so let's see it here by extension, protecting your social security number with encryption. Now we're taking it a step forward. But let me give you the simplest form of confidentiality in its implementation. I've only shared, explained these concepts by their meaning, not by their application. The basic, most fundamental application or implementation of confidentiality is the use of credentials. Okay, I'm sure what do you mean by credentials? That identity you use to gain access to a secured resource is what we call a credential. A very common, or the commonest credential, is username and password, which falls under a field of specialization called IAM. Please note, I told you yesterday, as we go on this journey, I'll be telling you areas of specialization. There are what we call IAM specialists, identity and authentication management specialists, or what you call IAM system. So there are applications, yes, network applications, or what I will classify as server, that provide authentication service or services to your network or a resource or two on the network. Please, I hope for some of us here who are not technical, I'm not getting it mixed up. If you have any question, like I told you yesterday, for our new friend in class, please, okay, Achitola said it's fine, thank you. Like I told us yesterday in class, please do not wait until the end of the session before you ask questions. I'm not that kind of teacher. Your hand and ask questions, because it's better you ask at that time why it is hot. I mean, at that time, why it is still in your head before the concept. That's one of the issues with technical trainings. If you do not have to ask a question bothering you at that time, if you're waiting till the end of the session, other technicalities can come in. so much that 3, 4, 5 questions might be erupting in the head. So it's better you ask questions per time. I will gladly answer. So let me take it again. One of the commonest implementation of confidentiality is the use of credentials. Credentials are any form of identity used by a user to access a secured environment, a secured digital space or digital resource. And that's very common one is password. Common credential is what is password. We're going to get to IAM later. Yes, there is a chapter dedicated to IAM. So encryption is an advanced form. That's where I'm leading you because encryption is stated there. Encryption is an advanced form of enforcing confidentiality. I hope you're getting it. So a simple way of implementing confidentiality is what the use of username and password. Hope you're getting it. So, but you want to say in the use of encryption, are there credentials? Of course there are. If you're using like got private key with got public key, most so if you're not using asymmetric encryption or asymmetric cryptography, where you'll be using one key called the public key to encrypt, you're using private key to decrypt, or if you're using it on the flip side, using digital signature, then you're using what's private key to encrypt, and they're using public key to decrypt. I'm not going to teach all of that now. It's a bit tricky and a bit technical. There's a chapter dedicated to that. We're not there yet. Still some weeks away from here. So I move on to integrity. Enforcing integrity, you're trying to protect a resource from being tampered. So you must have heard the word tamper-proof, Abi? Okay, on physical resources, like you have this tamper seal on some resource, so that if you try to open that resource, the seal will break, right? That seal is placed on that item, on that product, to protect the integrity of what? The content of that product. I hope you're getting it, because there's no way you will open that product without tampering with the seal. We have such translation digitally, protecting the integrity of a file. I'll give you a good example. PDF files. You agree with me, except you are using an advanced PDF reader like Acrobat. There's the basic Acrobat reader, and there's the, I hope I'm correct now, Adobe Acrobat. There's the one that allows you to view, and there's a version, someone can help me out, please, if I've not seen it. There's the version that allows you to edit. But no, it is actually called, okay, there's the Adobe reader, the Adobe PDF reader. Then the one that can edit is called Acrobat reader. Please, if you have a more recent or update or information about it, please feel free to unmute and tell us about it. Now, why are PDFs uneditable? Do you think they just gave us PDF? The developers of that format just came up with it so that you'll be able to view the file in any system, irrespective of the file format where the source document is. And those who develop PDF, wouldn't they have made it editable as a way of protecting the integrity of the file being converted to PDF? Because you can't create a file. On PDF is just a format. It's not an application for creating a file like Notepad, Notepad++, Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint. I know we all know what I'm saying, except just a way of refreshing our mind. So why is PDF in non-editable form? It is because of integrity. Hope you're getting it. Those who developed it could add format, could have made it editable. But converting a file to PDF simply makes it only viewable on editable. I hope you're getting it. So that state is an implementation of integrity. But you can now take a step further in protection by encrypting the PDF document or passwording the PDF document. I want to believe almost all of us here, if not, let me not assume all of us. I want to believe that, okay, let me say all of us, but if your case is an exception, no problem. That you've been able to, at a time, you're trying to access a PDF file that requested for password, that requested for decryption key. Some PDF files are encrypted, some are what? Passworded. Now, passwording a PDF file or encrypting it, you are enforcing what? Confidentiality. But PDF basically states is what already has integrity enforced. I hope you're getting me. Now, the use of digital signature, you can now create or place a digital signature on that PDF file. It's an advanced form of protecting or further protecting the integrity of a PDF file. Now, where would you be placing, or when would you be placing a digital signature on a PDF file? If that PDF file is an interactive file, when I mean interactive, please give me a thumb up if you've worked on a PDF file that is, you enter data, you can type into it, and I get a thumb up. If you have done that, you fill the PDF, or you can, in fact, thank you. For some of us, you may be able to create editable PDF files. Thank you, Shegun. It's not so difficult. As a matter of fact, it's not difficult to create a PDF interactive file. You're getting it. You can create a form on, or they call it Excel, and access it from PDF, convert from a PDF like Acrobat Reader, and don't let me take into all of that. Creating an editable, or yes, we call it editable PDF form. Now, a PDF file that's editable allows you to enter data into cells, or sorry, I retract that, not cells anymore, into fields. Yes, what cells is in Excel allows you, or in sheets, maybe in any spreadsheet, what cell is there is what we call fields. But basically, those boxes into which you enter text, maybe in a database or in an interactive, or on a form, a digital form, what we refer to as field. So I'm only likening it to what? The cell on a spreadsheet, or what you have, the boxes on the table, like you have in Microsoft Word or PowerPoint. Should you create a table? Now, except you're using, if you're using an interactive PDF, that's what we call it. PDFs allow you to enter data and you see. You know, now that PDF is editable, right? Please note, I said PDF documents basically already have integrity intact because they are uneditable. The content is uneditable. But now we now have interactive PDF documents that you can type in data, you can enter data, and you can save, and you can return back to the file and edit it. So it means anyone can gain access to that file and change the content in one of the fields. Yes. So how do I protect that document? Since it's now interactive, it's now editable, such that if it has been edited, after the time I last saved it, if any modification has taken place, how do I discover it? How do I identify it? Now, the place of digital signature, like you find on integrity using digital signature, the place of digital signature comes in. You can enforce a digital signature on that document. Of course, there will be a field for you to enter a digital signature that will place what we call one-time stamp. Time stamp will be on it. If that file changes, I hope you're getting it, and it is safe, definitely when it changes, whoever it is, it could be you, and you save it, right? The time the previous file, you get the signature, that's all called the hash. I don't want to make it too technical now, but we're still going to get there later. There's all called hash value. The hash value will change from the original hash value. When you place a digital signature on the document, there is a value, an alphanumeric value that is generated. It is called hash value, H-A-S-H. So that value is generated, is a string of characters. It could be 24 characters, it could be 32, it could be even longer than that. In fact, sometimes it's 40. I've seen hash numbers or hash values that are 40, 42, 40 something. So in fact, there is a slide for it in this class. When we get there, we'll talk about it. And we'll see how we can do a demonstration around it. Don't worry. How we can do a demonstration around the encryption and digital signature. So you see how it works, right? So so if it is modified, we can compute the recomputation as a way of ascertaining process. It's called recomputation. You can recompute the data signature to derive what the new hash value is. So the hash value has changed. A recomputation of that document is a mathematical procedure that, sorry, we lost you for a bit. Am I back now? Can I get a thumb up if you can hear me? I see I'm online. Thank you. I don't know. I think it's network, but I'm monitoring my network and I realize that I'm online. Okay, thank you. Thanks for the feedback. I quite appreciate it. So I can use that to monitor my head. Now, there's the process of verifying that that document has not been modified is to recompute the hash, that is the value that was generated when the first digital signature was placed. If that recomputation shows a new hash, even if it's just a change by character, it's an indicator to the owner of that file or to the recipient of that file that it has been tampered with, either in transit or a destination or even from the source. That's where tampering can come from. So the individual receiving that document, recipient, can now notify the sender that, hello, this document you sent me now has a different hash value based on my recomputation. I don't think it's trustworthy. Please, let's call it back and send me another one. I hope you're getting. So that's one of the ways to ensure integrity. Integrity is a very sensitive security measure. It's implemented in software, it's implemented in source code of software. Let me put it that way. Most advanced software developers enforce integrity on their source code. I use the word source code, please, for simplicity's sake, for those who are non-tech in the class. The software you are using, that application you are using, was written with a particular programming language. 1 or 2 or 5 or 10 programming languages were used to write that application you are using. For instance, Microsoft Excel, Microsoft Word, PowerPoint. You get it? Just who I'm using English to communicate with you. In the same vein, programmers have their own programming language with which they interact with the computer, the hardware. Basically, the processor. Let me put it that way. So that programming language which the programmer uses, he uses that programming language to write instructions that the processor would execute to get a task performed. So that syntax or the instruction he has written, just the way we write articles using sentences. In the same vein, programmers or software developers use what we call write their instructions, what we call syntax. So there's so much semblance between English language, writing articles in English language, and the way programmers write theirs, except that programmers use what we call line of code in their text editor. Sorry, I think I should just stop there. Don't let me mess it up for the new entrance into tech in the class. I'm taking it too far. So programmers or software developers have a way of protecting the instructions, otherwise called source code. The instructions they write with programming languages, they have a way of protecting it to be sure that it is not modified or pirated by unauthorized developers, as the case might be, just the way we have created software. So, but not only do they enforce what do you call it, integrity, there's another security measure that is enforced. It's called steganography. When I get to cryptography, it might be me that will be taking it there, or Emmanuel, someone else. But then, though it's not in the slide, but it's they just mention it now. So at that time, you can raise it up. Digital watermark is another name for it. So any of us who's taking it, if we mention steganography or digital watermark, we're saying the same thing. Is a security measure, a form of cryptography that is used to protect digital works like source codes. Now, availability, as well as ensuring availability or protecting the availability of resources, you can implement what we call backup. Backup is the commonest medium of protecting the availability of digital resources. Hope you get it. Yes, backup. Of course, why backup? Should you lose the master file or the original file? I just use the word master file. Okay, don't worry. The file you created initially, before you have where you backed up from, is called the master file, the original file, the source file. Now, you may lose it. Like I lost something recently, a 1 terabyte hard drive. That was functioning, but all of a sudden it just ceased to function. So no system could read it anymore. Even if it's blinking properly and it's not vibrating, it's not showing any sign of failure, but somehow I've connected it with like 4 or 5 systems, and no system can read the drive anymore. So as a way of ensuring that what is exposed to loss, as data loss, I can have it back, I can do backup. So enforcing on me, implementing backup, you are simply protecting the availability of that resource. Hope you're getting it. Another way is for operating system. You can create a clone copy of an operating system, or what we call an image of an operating system. Your computer, for instance, if you're using the Windows operating system, you can create an image. If you're good at it, you can go through control panel, and or you can go to your start search button and say what system through create a system image, and you have it. Now, why you create the image? Obviously, we want to store it either on a compact disk or on a flash drive. So it will request for an external storage device where that image can be stored. Should you lose the operating system to maybe virus attack or any other form of incident that can lead to the operating system of your laptop crashing or your device crashing, you can restore back the operating system from the image you have created through a wizard called System Restore. So these are protection of availability. Now, for continuity of business processes, I told you earlier that, let me say in a previous class, that processes, organizational processes are a resource. For instance, banking services. Are you getting me? I mean, the services that are rendered by the forex platform, crypto platforms, and all of that. They are all what? Resources. Why? They create value. I told us in our previous class that what makes a resource resourceful? Please, who can finish that? Yes. Let me ask that question. What exactly makes a resource resourceful? This is a resource. I gave you the Emmanuel, please don't answer. I gave you, okay, please go ahead, Tomiwa. Let me hear.
If it can deliver and also give value.
Okay, agreed, but I used some technical, used one. There are 2 technical words. So let me hear from someone else has contributed. Say if he can deliver. So let me hear. Maybe Tomiwa has answered one part. So let me hear from another part. What makes a resource? We have a laptop. Good. What makes it resource?
Hello.
Hello.
Make it resources. It can generate value, deliver value, and make it a digital resources.
Okay, thank you. I hope your name Adekunola. I hope that's the correct name. Okay. What makes a resource resourceful is its capability to create or deliver value, or both. So a resource might be creating value, another resource is delivering it, or same resource is creating and delivering value. I hope you are getting it. Now, let me give you a good example. A storage device. Sorry, I won't give you the example. I'll cite an example. I'll ask you to complete it. A storage device. Is a storage device creating value or delivering value? A very technical question. A storage device that you use for storing files. Let's say, for instance, your backup storage device. Your backup, please, I'm being specific now. Your backup
Is delivering value.
Is delivering value. Okay, I share that. Thank you for that. Who else has the same opinion or an exception to that? Yours is a storage device. Is it creating value or is delivering value? Particularly a backup storage device. Okay, for instance, the application with which you create data files. You're creating value, right? But that value has to be stored somewhere. Hope you're getting it. So your storage device is actually delivering value. It's not the one creating the file. The data itself is a resource. Abi? Now, the application that was being used to create that data file is creating value, but the storage device is delivering value. Now, the internet. Is the internet please listen. This is a technical question. Is the internet creating value or delivering value, or both?
Both.
Both.
Okay. Okay. When I get to networking, when we get to networking, let me put it that way, we shed more light on the origin of the internet, and is the internet itself creating value, or is it users on the internet that are creating? It's a technical question. Listen, what exactly is the internet? You need to understand what the internet is, the motive of the internet, and what exactly is creating value on the internet. Is the internet a value creating resource, or is a media through which values are exchanged, values are delivered, values are transferred? Please give it a thought. So let's cap it up there. Remember these three elements. If information is confidential but not available, it is useless. Please note these three. They are key. Information might be confidential but is not available. Of course, it's confidential. That means we've protected access to it, but we can't, it's not available. Then if information is available but not accurate, it is misleading. What is that? Loss of integrity. If information is accurate but accessible to anyone, what is that? Compromise of data privacy. Please note these three. They are very, 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 very key. Information is confidential but not available. It's useless. Information is available but it's been tampered with, it's been altered, modified without authorization or permission. Then it's misleading. It has lost its integrity. Then information is accurate, is accessible to anybody. Then data privacy is what? Is compromised. Now, when we get to data privacy, I will now apply CIA to privacy. Not now. There is a whole chapter dedicated to it. So by achieving all three aspects of CIA, you can build a robust information security posture. Let me just cap it up on that. The entire CIA Triad can be implemented collectively, or there just might be need for one, not the entire three. Hope you're getting it. So it is not the task at hand. The need will determine whether the three should be enforced, or two, or just one. Then let's say examples of the short, like the name sound, like manufacturing around your office, looking for information to steal, information to pick, information to, I hope you're getting. So that will lead to what? Loss of confidentiality. Should the individuals stumble on what? Sensitive papers that should be kept, the sensitive papers are on the desk, rather should be in the box. An individual who is just snooping around like a dog stumbles on it just through shoulder surfing. There is an attack called a cyber attack called shoulder surfing. I just might be standing behind Emmanuel in his office and peeping into the documents in his hand, on his hand, and then or is in front of his laptop or even on his phone, and I stand beside him and just by the corner of the eye peeping at the screen of this device. What am I doing? I'm snooping, though the accurate word in cyber attack is called shoulder surfing. Hope you're getting it. But generally it's called, I mean, snooping, shoulder surfing. Another form could be eavesdropping. I'll explain that later. So snooping, shoulder surfing can lead to loss of connection. But what would be the mitigants, the security measure, is to enforce clean desk policy. All confidential documents should either be turned upside down on the desk or be kept in the locker or the drawer. Then dumpster diving, because you have a waste bin in the office or a dumpster where you throw documents that are no longer useful or you don't need them anymore. And someone rushed to your office, appeared to be helping you to dispose the waste in the bin, unknown to you that the fellow is not disposing, it's actually gathering the waste so he can search for sensitive documents, which he would be using for personal gain. That practice is called dumpster diving. It's a cyber attack. So cyber attacks are not primarily electronic or digital. We also have physical, just as we have physical cyber security, we also have physical cyber attack like shoulder surfing, which will lead to what we call data leakage. Hope you're getting. So dumpster diving can be digital or can be physical. Now, I've just illustrated the physical one. And the digital one is the recycle bin on your device. Microsoft's Windows uses recycle bin as that dumpster, that electronic dumpster for collecting files leaks. Now, for an individual who is targeting your device, if he looks at your desktop and looks at the icon of your recycle bin and realizes that it's showing full. If you're very used to the Windows operating system, you agree with me that when you have trash inside the recycle bin, it gives an icon of like waste paper, right? If you empty it, the icon is empty, the bucket becomes empty. But if you delete any item that goes into the recycle bin, you observe that are like pieces of paper. An attacker targeting you, once he looks at your desktop and is looking for a file, and he knows, is it not Emmanuel? He will always save it on his desktop. And that is why, please, for cybersecurity, for security purposes, don't save confidential or sensitive documents on your desktop. I'm sorry to say this is very common with end users. Why? Easy accessibility. You want to easily access, easily access. You don't want to navigate stored folders like document folder or repositories. Those Windows defaults repositories like documents, pictures, videos. Sorry, I am particular with Windows. In trainings like this, we're always particular with one operating system or two, so that we can use that to illustrate. So please, for my end, I'll be illustrating more with the Windows operating system. So please, if you are the Mac type like Emmanuel, sorry, I might not be helping you. But then for the Windows users, you know what I'm talking about. So a lot of users store documents on desktop because they don't want to navigate or go through the process of navigating repositories, default repositories. So the attacker, just 1 minute or two, access to your laptop whose screen has not been locked, scans the desktop in 1 or 2 seconds. In fact, max 3 seconds. I can't find anything related to what's looking for. If he looks at your recycle bin and observes that it's full, the next thing he goes there and it scouts to you. You will never know that anything has taken from the recycle bin unless you enforce event viewer. If you enforce event viewer, which is a security tool but kind of detective security tool in Microsoft Windows operating system. Then if you visit your event viewer, that is if you have the time, it can show you the activities that took place, the events that took place on your system per time. So we can show that, oh, recycle bin was opened. So the moment you spot recycle bin on the log of your event viewer log, recycle bin, then the next thing you see cuts. Because on recycle bin, if you right click a file on recycle bin, you'll see what restore, delete, and what and cut. The Windows users know what I'm talking about. So for most attackers, they would rather, but there's no copy from recycle bin, no copy. The options you have when you right click a file on recycle bin is delete, restore, or cut. So the individual can cut from there. So you will find if you activate event viewer, if you activate the log capture of events on your operating system, you can view recycle bin. Really? Did I go to recycle bin today? Okay, if I did, perhaps I deleted an item, which look there. So let me see the kind of action that took place. Oh, this is not delete, this is cut. So you want to say, okay, you can follow the log. Okay, this cut, where did it go to? Oh, it went to drive E, which is an external device. Oh, it means someone connected. I get it. That's how you analyze incidents. It means someone connected an external device to my system and moved what. Or if the network, if the device is accessible from your network place, then through the event where you can determine, oh, listen, if you came into my system, who did? Oh, the desktop called this, or user called that, got access to my device and moved this from this device to another device electronically. Hope you're getting it, or in that state logically. So and that's why when please, if you are joining the network, please let me just explain this. You are a cybersecurity class. If you're connecting to a network that is not corporate, let's say a wireless network, and if you're using Windows, I'm using Windows to illustrate. The moment you connect to a new wireless network, we want to activate discovery mode. So you will find this message that pops up that you want your device to be discovered on this network. You will see the option of at the bottom of the text or the notification, yes or no. You will find it there. And please always click on no if the network is not yours. Even if it's your corporate net, your home network, still leave it at no. Yes. If you now want that device to be in discovery mode, of course, you can go to what? Control panel and turn on discovery mode, and the device becomes what? Discoverable by other devices on the network. I hope you are getting it. It's a security measure. The only reason, the only device I think should be in discovery mode, not I think, sorry. I am saying this as a subject matter expert, more so as a network expert, is that the only device that should be in discovery mode on the network is one. If it's a server, of course, the server has to be on discovery mode so that a client computer can connect to the resources on it. That's one. Then number two, if that client system has a shared partition that is storing files for other users, or for instance, you have SharePoint server. Of course, it's automatically. Once you install a SharePoint, it's automatically going to discovery mode. Why is it SharePoint server? But then I'm referring to not cloud, but I'm referring to on-prem networks, not cloud infrastructure. For those who are new in tech, network installation and network creation can be in two states. You can have your entire gadget on the network administered by you or your network administrator, that is your server, everything is physical, and it domiciles somewhere called data center or the server room. In that instance, or that particular instance, we refer to such a network as on-prem, on-premises. That means the backbone of your network is within your premises. Otherwise, your network is in the cloud. Yes, you can set up a network in the cloud using what we call infrastructure as a service. When we get to cloud computing, I'll teach you those models, or my colleagues, they explain those models. Got PaaS, got IaaS, and got SaaS. Out of these three models come other models like data as a service, security as a service. Yes, there's security as a service. There's hacking as a service, which is called activism. So one of you, please, I am not encouraging activism, but I can't stop you from going into activism. I have to sound I have to express a disclaimer here. I can't determine what you will end up doing with your security skills. Cyber attackers are also cybersecurity experts. Those who carry out cyber attack are also experts, like we on this side of the divide. So we on this side of the divide who are helping to protect, we're called white hats. We are actually classified as white hats, or I think there's one other name for us. But then those on the other side who are using this skill to launch an attack, they are called black hats. So it's like a knife. You're giving a knife or a sword. A sword has two edges. You can either fight to defend yourself using a sword, or you can fight to attack your opponent using a sword. It's like a gun. You have a gun licensed, because that should only be the kind of gun you have. You have a licensed gun. You can have the gun to defend or have the gun to launch an attack. In the same vein, cybersecurity skills, the one you are acquiring now, though what we are giving you is to protect, but you can take a step or two or more further to go acquire the skills that can attack. Please, we are sounding a note of warning. The training we are giving you is strictly for defensive, not for unethical offensive. I stress it, unethical. There are ethical offensive. It has, management's got to be aware about it and approve it. Otherwise, any such offensive that is unauthorized, unknown to management and not approved by them, even if you are doing it supposedly in good faith, it is termed unethical offensive. That's where we have the word hacking. So we have ethical hacking and unethical hacking. So those who participate in unethical hacking are usually classified as black hat hackers. Then we now have those who use hacking skills or cybersecurity skills for personal gains. They do not launch an attack on purpose. They rather launch an attack based on consultation. They are called gray hat hackers. They are the individuals who are classified as what? Activists, from the word hack. Activists. Hacktivists. Activists. So please, I have to explain this here from the fog of this journey, so that you know whatever you're doing with your skill, please, we are sounding in a note of warning and placing a disclaimer. The training you are acquiring is for the good of the society, the good of your enterprise, the enterprise you're working for, you're consulting for, not to launch an attack or cause harm. Okay, that's that. So mitigation against dumpster diving is to protect your organization against dumpster diving attacks using simple piece of technology like shredder. So you can install a shredder that will shred paper. This as far as physical attack is concerned. And then what about dumpster diving, digital dumpster diving, the one of recycle bin? Okay, can I quickly say this, that your organization can implement what we call an archival system, like it is in Pentagon. I know of Pentagon, I know of CIA, that if you delete a file on their network computers, it doesn't go into the recycle bin. It goes into an archival server. So you cannot delete, actually. You simply move. So every time you are deleting, you can confirm from anyone who works in Pentagon. They'll tell you exactly that's how it is. They have an archival system that accommodates what the end user apparently deleted. So from the end user's point, he or she deleted the file. But at the back end, it was simply a move. The file was moved to an archival system. And that's why they will tell you, even in 50 years, they can still revert to files and do investigation on them. Okay, now another kind of attack that will lead to loss of confidentiality is eavesdropping. There's physical eavesdropping, there's electronic eavesdropping. Someone can sit next to you or appear to be a friend or a visitor while you are talking with a colleague. The fellow might come friendly and you welcome the individual thinking he's a customer, an intending customer, a potential customer. And so please sit, we'll attend to you in a moment. And right there, you're discussing with a colleague something confidential. The individual can eavesdrop. It might be on that mission to come eavesdrop. Then for electronic eavesdropping, tapping a telephone line or tapping a digital conversation line, like tapping a social chit chat line. For instance, let's say tapping WhatsApp, although you can't tap a WhatsApp line based on what they claim, the end-to-end encryption. So that means if you are typing a text or you are typing text or chat, the moment you hit send, it automatically encrypts and decrypts when it gets to the recipient end. So not only does it encrypt at that end, the channel itself is encrypted. And do not forget that the entire conversation on WhatsApp is within the same server, within the same infrastructure. It's not going out. Rather, the internet is only acting as a medium for you at one end to access that communication server with me at the other end. I hope you're getting it. So there's this encryption within the enclosure. That is why you hardly hear of eavesdropping. I've never heard. If you have, please let me know. Eavesdropping on social media chat platforms like WhatsApp or Telegram or Signal or any of these. You hardly hear. The same thing too on calls like this. Zoom, WebEx, Google Meets. These are end-to-end encryption. So hardly would you hear eavesdropping. We are all within the same server enclosure. So we're only using the internet to access that enclosure. The communication is not leaving that environment. So in spite of that, they still encrypt it. So the mitigation against eavesdropping is to put rules in place where sensitive communications can take place and where it should not take place. And also, one of such eavesdropping attack electronically is called wiretapping. Someone tapping, like to a physical cable. Oh, this cable is one leading to Emmanuel's office. Okay. There are tappers, a T connector that if that is for BNC cable, that's where we T connectors. Otherwise, on normal twisted pair cable that has a strand, I can tap it because not the entire 4 cables are used for communication. Entire 8 cables are used for communication. It's only 2 out of the whole 8. Okay, if you're using straight through cable, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6. So on the color code, just 1, 2, 3. Sorry, what did I say? 1, 2, 3, and 6 on the color code. So color code 4, 5, 7, and 8 are not useful. And that is why in networking, you can connect, you can use basic number instead of RJ45 connector, RJ11. You can use RJ11 connector cable to connect a network, a LAN network, and it will be successful. Or you can dual link it. You can, instead of using only 8 strands, sorry, whoever understands networking knows what I'm saying. The same cable that is running from the switch to particular, of course, you can run 4 to enter Emmanuel's office and 4 to enter Tomiwa's office. While the other end at the switch, you terminate the connection using 2 connectors, RJ45 connector, 2 at this end, and 2 separate the cables, the strands from the sheet. The moment they come out of the trunk or wherever you connect the circuits, the conduits, where you pass them to. Sorry, those in networking know what I'm talking about. So I can tap that connection. I can tell which of them has data flowing on it, and which of them is not. Which of them is flowing, is actually powering, like PoE. For instance, if I want to disrupt a device in Emmanuel's office, and I know that that cable is also the one powering that device in Emmanuel's office. Of course, I know out of the 4 color codes, 1, 2, 3, and 6. I know the 2 Only two are responsible for data transfer. But the other two are for what? Queuing. So I know which one to disrupt. So that, of course, the device will no longer be powered. What is happening? What's happening? All of that. Okay, I leave it at that. All of this are cyber attack. That's why I told you that. I mentioned earlier that what you do with what you are training is simply your responsibility. But please, we strongly encourage you, be professional with the knowledge you are acquiring. Okay, so for eavesdropping, we have wiretapping, but then we got cybersecurity devices that listens to a network. Let me use that word, listens, and can detect if there is a third party on that connection, and then send a signal to Emmanuel, for instance, who's a network administrator, that there's eavesdropping taking place on the network, and at the same time there's this LAN cable tester, or this particular tester, not a basic LAN cable tester, that can be used to detect cables. You just plug at one end and put on, start touching cables one after. You hear a sound, and you can detect that on this particular cable there is a leakage, which could be due to what? Eavesdropping. Now you can trace that cable. If it's traceable, you detect which points is a tapping. Is there a wire tapping? So we got social engineering. Also, is an attack that can lead to loss of confidentiality. Social engineering has been classified as the highest cyber attack there is. As a matter of fact, Cisco Umbrella in their 2024 report claimed that social engineering accounts for 85% of all cyber attacks. 85, those on the internet and off the internet, 85%. I would say, not by way of marketing, though, of course, we need to suggest, if you're into tech here, Cisco Umbrella is a very useful tool against social engineering. It's so advanced that it can detect traffics that are designed for social engineering attacks. So, example of social engineering is, or let me say in simple terms, social engineering is the attack aimed at exploiting the behavioral weakness or psychological weakness of a user. Now, not only are users socially engineered now, even devices and applications are now falling into social engineering attack. Yes, they are now victims of social engineering. I'm not going to go that deep. It's quite deep. Social engineering attack are actually targeted at individuals, human beings. But today we now have devices, civil security devices on the network, fooled through social engineering attacks by other devices. But there's what we call machine-to-machine communication, machine-to-user communication, application-to-machine communication, application-to-application communication. Sorry, what I just mentioned now is beyond the scope of this lesson. We are not taking you the basics that will lead us to those forms of what? Advanced communication. So application-to-application communication is being wired in a way that application can now fool other applications through social engineering techniques. Please, the word social actually means human. But the technique in social engineering has become so advanced that applications now fool applications through social engineering techniques to get access to classified information. So a very good example of social engineering is somebody calling you on the phone and tells you you have won a jackpot or you now need to provide some and some information. And somebody is telling you is the customer representative of your bank and he's even mentioned your name and even your date of birth and some information that makes you look like, whoa, I think this person is true. And the person is saying, we're going to send you, we are trying to improve the security on your account. So we're going to send you an SMS, please. Whatever you see on the SMS, we'll call you back, call it out. So the number there, or whatever is sent to you is what we're going to impute into your account to improve the security posture of your account. Should you respond to that call, the next call, your account will be overtaken. Okay, again, now, this kind of attack is all called social engineering. You'll be hearing things like phishing attacks, smashing attack. There is a smashing, there's the kishing, K-I-S-H. There's the phishing, VISH. Sorry, when we get there, talk more about it. So, and I did mitigation against social engineering is to put the best education against, mitigation against social engineering is actually education, user education, because users are the primary target in social engineering attack. So the more educated or aware the user is, the better they will be able to identify or suspect traffics or communication that appears otherwise. I hope you're getting it. That this one is not. I think the sender is trying to engineer me social. Yes, you can. You can identify like mails, a call, an SMS, and say this one is a social engineering data. Only the right education, the right awareness, the right information can help the user identify. And that is why there is a need for cybersecurity education consultants in workplaces to educate users from time to time, not necessarily by way of classroom, be by way of some short video content, by way of you logging into your system on the network, and before you are granted access to the desktop, maybe the virtual desktop or your system desktop, a screen appears. That's the next 2-3 minutes or 5 minutes, the brief of the lecture is administered, and at the end, a test or two is administered. When you're done, then you gain access into the desktop of your system. This will be part of your job as a cybersecurity education analyst. So if you are hoping to go that route, please know what your JD will look like. Integrity risk, attacks targeted at integrity. Like you can see the first one, there is unauthorized manipulation of information, like email. Somebody gains access to your email, somebody impersonating you, or someone hijacking your mail in transit, modifies it and releases it to deliver. That's unauthorized modification. So the mitigation will be to enforce least privilege. Least privilege is one of the most restrictive permissions on digital resources. Sorry, a quick feedback. Can you give me a thumb up or two if you can still hear me? Can you still hear me? Let me be sure. Thumb up or two. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thanks. So you can implement least privilege is the most restrictive permission. Thank you, Olaya. The most restrictive permission on digital resources, like just view. You can't, other than view, you can't do any other thing. You can't download, you can't copy, you can't transfer, you can't attach, you can't do anything. So least privilege, which is just view, is a way of protecting, an ideal way of protecting digital resources against unauthorized modification. There's also what we call role-based permissions. That means if that permission or that access or that use of resource has no relationship with the office, with your JD, then you cannot be given. Hope you're getting, like, let me tell you the resource that suffers unauthorized modification the most. It's called database. Our database is the most prone to loss of integrity, or let me say most prone to integrity risk. So that is why you agree with me that in the workplace, your access to database is highly controlled. Not just the access, but what you do in the database. That's why we put so much security enforcement on database. Because the nature of data in database is so sensitive that they can lose their states. You know what I mean? They can change form easily. Balances can change. Imputes can be made. Imputes can be, existing data can be modified. So many things can take place. All you find in the database is data. That's why it's called database. So that is why access to database is highly controlled because of the high risk exposure, the high integrity risk exposure. Another risk to integrity is impersonation. Somebody claiming is you, an individual is not you, but it pretends to be you and is doing business on your behalf. I will be practical here. You must have heard this name, Invictus, or the popular one from Dubai that is now in the US custody. You know him. Oh, somebody help me with his name. Oh, this guy.
Hush
Copy.
puppy.
Thank you, Hush. Most of the attacks these guys carried out is impersonation. If you know the case of Invictus, at the time, Invictus was rated by folks as the top 30, is it millionaires or whatever it was classified? Yes, millionaires in dollars, below 30. When that list was released and I saw his name there, I frowned. In fact, that was the last time I read top Forbes. Forbes actually corrected themselves after these cases of Invictus, Hush Puppy, and likes. They actually rebranded their contents. Yes, because I subscribed to Forbes. So at that time, I stopped. I wouldn't read anything from them. I was just pissed. Only for the news to break out that Invictus, well, I can't remember his full name anymore, impersonated one director of a steel company in the US, and $12 million was authorized and was transferred. $1 million. Now, that transaction took place by way of impersonation. What has happened to that's what kind of attack is that? Plus, that's an attack on integrity of that state. What state? That state of the accounts. There was a change, but from an unauthorized source. Someone initiated the change, an authorized individual initiated the change, but the approval of the authorization did not come from the valid source. That's an attack on the integrity of data. Hope you're getting. So the mitigation will be strong user education too. How was it divulged? The man who the director was in the subsidiary that released that money, $12 million. It was the director in the group company that authorized that they had this contract and they had to fund it and all that. So not to the man at both ends. I mean, the original director, when Victus impersonated the director at the group company, and then the manager of the subsidiary who released that money for the project. Both the original director, the group director did not know, but the man and the subsidiary was communicating with Invictus. So the message was coming from the wrong source. Please, let me quickly teach it now. Yes, I don't want to forget 4 states of integrity loss. It's not on this slide, but I want to teach it. I want to teach it. In loss of integrity can take either of these 4. Number 1 is called interception. Number 2, interruption. Number 3, fabrication. Number 4, modification. Please pay attention. I want to teach you this. I deliberately want to teach you. Integrity loss can take, that is any form of attack on integrity of digital resources, fall within these 4 classifications. The first one is what? Interception. Let me start with interception. The message is coming from Emmanuel. To me, Function, the message is actually coming from the genuine source. But there is a guy in the middle. For instance, Emmanuel. Emmanuel, don't turn out to be that guy. It is usually called man in the middle, MIT. And so MIT, man in the middle. So Tomiwa is the man in the middle, who is eavesdropping on the communication link between Emmanuel and I. So as Emmanuel sends the message, Tomiwa intercepts it. And what does he do with it? Tomiwa can read it, not do anything, and allow the message to go. At that level, as far as Tomiwa is not what? Is not changing any states. I hope you're getting it. It's not in it. Is what? Tomiwa just interrupted. And Tomiwa can even delete it. If there's an attachment, Tomiwa can remove the attachment and only allow the what? The content in the box to go, the text box, but removes the attachment. Now, that is called interception. Tomiwa intercepts the message. Please, this is not some easy to do things, oh. It's with the help of some advanced tools to eavesdrop electronically. It's not some cheap things, oh. There were apps to do this on Play Store. I say this is a recorded class, it is true. Until Google identified this and sanitized Play Store some years back. So Google were able to identify apps that were harmful apps that were, of course, there were lots of what hacking tools that appeared innocent. Mind you, I'll take it again that the tools, I mean, the cybersecurity skill you're acquiring can be used for good or otherwise. In the same vein, cybersecurity tools like network or traffic analyzers, they're actually designed primarily to enhance network security. But the same set of tools can be employed otherwise. You know what I'm talking about? This same set of tools, though there are cyber attack tools designed for attack alone, they have no other purpose. But very smart attackers have a way of using the tools that are meant for safety for otherwise purpose. Okay, so interception just stop at that. It picks it, listens, and releases it, or just drops it. But basically, interception is it doesn't do anything with it. It just picks it, stops the message, or allows the message to stream. Like a very good example of intercept is eavesdrop. It's a very good example of interception. The next is called interruption. Mind you, I said interception and interruption have so many things in common. But in interruption, someone stop the message, deletes the message. He has interrupted it. Or there's what called echo in network traffic. Someone can create artificial echo. Echoes are disruptions on network flow, like noise. I can't hear you. What's happening? Me, Imagine and I can be talking. Imagine like it's failing. There's noise at the background, and whereas I'm in a quiet place. So disruptions on network flow, network communication flow. One of such is called echo. So Tomiwa can create artificial echo that can disrupt traffic. Now, network communication can be voice and can be what? Can be text in form of mail, chats, as the case might be. Hope you're getting it. Or can even be in form of what? E-commerce, or sorry, let me know the word e-commerce. I retract it. EDI. Because EDI powers all the E's. So EDI is electronic data interchange. That's the best form to use. So in e-commerce, there's EDI. In fact, the power of communication, as in what enables, for instance, Abiodun on an app, on Amazon app, is buying or ordering items on the Amazon store. She can communicate with the Amazon store right from the Amazon or the Amazon app on her device. Of course, there is data flow between a device right from the app and the what? The Amazon server. You get what I'm saying? What enables that data flow? She clicks on, she taps an item, she selects the quantity she wants, automatically the cart is populated. She goes to another product, picks, a cart is populating. How she knows, she can see that the cart is populating. You can find 2, 3, the quantity expressed on the cart. What's enabling that communication? From her end, she selects 2 and it is 2 in the cart. She selects 1 here and it is 1 in the cart. It's because of EDI. So EDI is responsible, electronic interchange, responsible for that communication between Abiodun on one side of the communication link and the server on the other side of the communication link. That's by the way. Can you explain the 4 classifications again? I'm not even done with the 4. I'm taking them again. So I'm just saying interception. In the case of eavesdropping, it's a good example of interception. Tomiwa is the man in the middle. Tomiwa is just listening to conversation. Tomiwa doesn't tamper, doesn't do anything, but is speaking what he wants. Then the next one Tomiwa now does is interruption. Tomiwa, for instance, can create echo so that there is disruption on the network. I hope you are getting me. So there will be no communication or communication failure. It happens a lot in telecom. Like from Tomiwa can create a jam in network, call it network jam, so that there will be network failure. Network will just disappear. That is not intercept. That's interruption. Tomiwa has interrupted the what? Communication flow. Or Tomiwa can be so specific using advanced traffic analysis tool to identify a particular packet. So I'll teach you that, or we will teach you that when we get there. Wherever I'm taking you, we will definitely teach you that we'll get to networking. Tomiwa can identify a particular packet emanating from Emmanuel. Sorry, what we call a packet is The message coming from one source from the sender to the destination is called packets. That's if I'm talking like now, I'm talking with you now, you can hear me. Means that flow of my voice from this end to your end, that traffic, that flow, that message in transit is what we call packets. So it could be text, it could be voice, it could be video, as the case might be. You could even be streaming on Netflix. Of course, packets is flowing from that end of the device, as that end of the network, to your end. So when we get to network, we'll teach all of it, but just know what we call data packet. Simply means communication in transit. So someone can hijack one of the packets, identifying it to be coming from Emmanuel, and delete it, so delete a portion. That's interruption. Then the next one is called fabrication. That was what Invictus did. Fabrication means the attacker is impersonating. The attacker creates a message that appears to be coming from the valid source, fabricating it. Now, fabrication can take two forms. Please, I need to explain this concept called impersonation very well. If Tomiwa scroll the slide up, okay. Tomiwa can compromise my email and be sending a message. Oh, okay. Is it here or where? Is it fine here? I'm still on integrity issue. Is it fine? Because the next is okay. Sorry, I said replay attack before availability. Okay. I hope it's good here. Is it fine? Okay, thank you. Tomiwa compromises my email to send a message to Emmanuel. Is that impersonation? It's not impersonation. No. It is still coming from the valid source. So is that impersonation in that case? No, that's fabrication. Tomiwa has compromised my email and is now using that's what Invictus did actually. Tomiwa now uses my email to send my valid email to create a message and sends to Emmanuel. That's fabrication. Modification now is for back to man in the middle. So all of this attack, there's man in the middle actually. All of this classification. In modification, Tomiwa sees the message coming from Emmanuel to me, stops the message, modifies its content or alters its content and releases the what? The message to go. Hope you're getting it. Or a voice note is coming from Emmanuel to me. Tomiwa is dropped on that note and intends to alter the information Emmanuel is sending to me. Tomiwa can use an advanced AI tool like DeepSeek to capture the tone and pitch of Emmanuel's voice, creates a new note, and use DeepSeek. Sorry, am I mentioning DeepSeek? Yes, because DeepSeek does that. Can I use DeepSeek to do what? The developers of DeepSeek, mind you, did not intend it for evil. So I got to put a caveat on it. Did not intend it for evil. But there's so much fear around it or worries around it that bad guys can actually use it to create what? False notes to the right recipients. Somebody wants to say something? Tell me why you want to say something. Okay, your device is unmuted.
No, sir.
So Tomiwa can now clone the voice of Emmanuel and create a note with that and send it to me. And I will believe it. If you are very conversant with cybersecurity reports on the internet, you would agree, yes, modification and fabrication, don't worry, sound alike, but all of them kind of, it most like interception interruption look like modification fabrication look like, you're correct, but it's the message itself. What happens to the message, that's what delineates them. In the case of modification, right, the message is coming from the what do you call it? Sorry, fabricate. Tomiwa is creating the message and sending to me as though it's coming from Emmanuel. In the case of modify, Emmanuel is the one who creates the message. Tomiwa hijacks it, changes the content, and sends to me. Do you get it now? Fabricate Emmanuel is not the one who created that message. It might be created through impersonation or might be created right from Emmanuel's what? Email. That's fabrication. But in the case of what? Modification, Emmanuel is actually the original sender of that message. But Tomiwa hijacks it, makes some modification, and does what? Sends to me. I hope it's clear now. But the one that is least aggressive among them is called interception. In the case of interception, Tomiwa doesn't tamper with anything. He will like eavesdropping. He doesn't see anything, just allow, but is if every email that comes from Emmanuel, Tomiwa can read it. So can I give you a common example of interception? A practical case is the installation of a Trojan. A Trojan can be, a spyware, that's the correct word. A spyware can be planted in your email through a Trojan attack. Yes, through a Trojan can be planted in your email, and every mail you send to the recipient, the individual will receive a copy, but will not do anything. Most times, like APT, advanced persistent threats, takes the form of interception. When we get to an advanced, when we get to attacks in this journey, at that point, we're almost close to the end of the session. I will be mentioning the most prominent advanced attacks, like ransomware and APT. APT is the most advanced attack. I stand corrected anyway, but to date, as far as my knowledge can carry me, see the most advanced form of cyber attack. It uses interception a lot. The man who is monitoring you can be monitoring traffic for 6 months. Oftentimes, a mole is planted in your system, monitoring traffic, analyzing traffic for 6 months, 3 months, 8 months, sometimes 1 year, yes, sometimes more than 1 year before the attack is finally launched. Can I say this? The attack that took place on Bybit recently, I think more than $1 billion was moved from Ethereum, the equivalent of 1 point something billion from the Ethereum account was moved. Well, when I got the news, the first thing I told myself is the case of APT, because when in APT there's social engineering, there's so many kinds of attack. But oftentimes, APT appears passive. When we get to attack, I'll tell you what we call passive attacks and active attacks. APT, most times, in fact, not most times, from about 80-90% of APT attacks, we come passive. So you will not suspect that there is a mole in the system or there's a compromise in the system. They use all form of steals. That's why I say in APT, advanced persistent threats, there is so much forms of galvanized, highly orchestrated attacks. So they often use stealthing to steal. They'll hide the identity within the system. Sometimes even appear to be a help, not knowing they are there to cause you harm. So they can monitor and listen. If you listen to reports, if you read reports on the attack on Bybit, that attack is so advanced. Humans were not socially engineered. It was their system, their operating system that was compromised. They really signed it. You know, transaction that will take like 3-4 people to sign, to authorize before it goes, and all of them did. Where? Can I tell you where they took that cue from? Quickly, I'll tell you. Blockchain. If you understand the attacks on blockchain, then you understand why the attack was successful. Ideally, in blockchain, I use a ledger system. No single activity will take place without other ledgers on the chain, other blocks in the chain, knowing about it and agreeing. But then there's this attack in blockchain that allows, for instance, Tomiwa setting up his own ledgers or blocks. Sorry, I'm being technical of blockchain. That's the language. So if you don't understand blockchain, I'm sorry about it. But then These are computers, could be virtual systems, could be physical systems, but the attacker can set up tens or hundreds or over 1,000 blocks within the chain. All it means is for these blocks to agree to that transfer of that crypto and it to be successful. Well, it's an advanced form of attack on blockchain. For those of you who understand blockchain very well, you agree with me. And very advanced. So when I got the reports, the first thing that came to my head is this is APT. Then the second thing is that it's a model of attack on blockchain. If you know blockchain attacks very well, you agree with me that they simply modeled it. I could never have believed that they could model cyber attack on blockchain systems on that kind of infrastructure. And they did, and it's successful. Now, I'll give you this assignment. Let everybody here go and read about the attack on Bybit. You're coming to tell us one or two things. Go and read extensively about it. Come and tell us just maybe the kind of attack or what they did, the lesson learned. Yours might be the weakness. You identify the weakness. Yours might be, are you getting me? Are we together? So it's an open question. I'm throwing it at all of you. No, I'm not creating any instance here, but I'm just giving you a bit of it. Go and read about Bybit, the attack on Bybit. It's the biggest heist in digital history. The digital world has never lost up to $1 billion in a single attack. It has never happened in the history of the world. That's the first time. And can I tell you this, cybersecurity professionals, can I tell you this? If an attack by bits, B-Y-B-I-T, B-Y-B-I-T, by bits. Now, can I quickly tell you this, that, yes, thank you, that's it, Emmanuel. If an attack in cyber world is successful, then please take it. It has come to stay. It's one of our rules in cybersecurity. If an attack was launched and is successful, those that were launched novel attack that were not successful, okay, thanks to advanced security measures. But if there's an attack in the cyber world that is successful, please, cybersecurity professionals, professional colleagues, that security has come, that attack has come to stay. I can assure you that there will be several updates or even new security technologies that will now be developed to counter such attacks. So that attack has come to stay. So let's move on. There's snooping. I've mentioned this. You now understand snooping. Someone acting as a middleman in a communication traffic. Like I used Tomiwa as an instance. So that's snooping as an attack on integrity or integrity risk. Then we got a replay attack. Okay, these are replay attack works. Tomiwa is an authorized user of a resource. Tomiwa has authenticated himself, for instance, using his fingerprints. And Funshot, the bad guy, wants to access that secured location. So what will Funshot do? Funshot will go and capture, with the aid of some advanced technologies, the fingerprint of Tomiwa. We now recreate that fingerprint, maybe on a jelly material, put it on, and place that thumb or that index finger on the fingerprint sensor. Will the door open or not? It will open. It will open. I hope you're getting it. If you go into digital forensics or computer forensics, you will understand what I just illustrated very well. It's very key aspects in forensics. Replay attack. So if I really want to get Tomiwa's details, I will be following Tomiwa all around. But Tomiwa, I will be his friend. But Tomiwa will not know that I am all around him to capture his details so that I can use that detail to gain access. So any such attack that uses Tomiwa's valid credentials to gain access into that secure environment that Tomiwa is authorized to gain access is what we call replay attack. That means Tomiwa, the concept of play means Tomiwa will always enter his credentials, his valid credentials, every time he wants to access that database. That is what it provides. Maybe a smart card, maybe it's biometric feature, maybe it's username and password, maybe, it's token. Now I can steal his token and use it. That's the play attack. I can capture his biometric and use it. That's the play attack. I can steal his username and password, and as far as I am the individual now using a valid credential is other than the authorized owner of the credential. Such attack is called replay attack. I hope you're getting me. So the mitigation or the defense here against replay and MIT, of course, sometimes there's man in the middle here. Sometimes could be by way of social engineering. Yes, I can capture Tomiwa's credentials to social engineering, capture it through man in the middle. I can capture it through what? So, but the security measure here is encryption. Let's encrypt security systems. For instance, authentication devices should never display or store within that same solution user credentials. So the device capturing the user credential should be different from the device authenticating. Both can communicate, but where the stored credential is, you know what I'm talking about. The server receiving your username and password should now be connected to another server where those credentials are stored and encrypted. I hope you're getting, although in most authentication systems, the same server on which credentials are stored is the same server receiving and validating those credentials. What I'm saying invariably is Abiodun is logging onto a system on our phone. Of course, there will be a device at the other end of the network receiving the username and password she just entered, or a fingerprint she entered, or token or any other credential she's using. Now, if she's using a registered credential like a biometric, username and password and all of that, those with the captured credentials will be stored in a particular server. That server oftentimes is the authentication server. But then an advanced form of IAM, Identity and Access Management System, will separate the server receiving the credentials from the server storing the encrypted credentials, so that if Tomiwa again, Tomiwa, you're a good friend. If Tomiwa again is launching an attack on the authentication server, Tomiwa might succeed in compromising the authentication server, thinking, oh, the stored, thanks for the emoji, the stored credentials are dead. Not knowing that those credentials are actually not stored on that server, they're actually stored on another server. In fact, sometimes these credentials are stored in the cloud. So that the server, the authentication is taking place in the cloud and redirecting you back again on-prem. If you see some advanced backend configuration, you would enjoy IT, you love IT. So these are kind of mitigations that can be put in place. Encryption can be used, and some advanced security protocols can be enforced. Please, when we get to networking class, talk about protocols. Then availability risk. The commonest availability risk is that the resource loses its availability. I hope you're getting me. So the database can lose its availability. That is, it's no longer active, cannot be accessed. That's what we call loss of what? Availability. A website can be brought down so that a visitor to the website can receive error 404, error 400, and all the 400 series. I hope you're getting me. Emmanuel knows, and our new entrant today knows what we're talking. Our new friend today knows what we're talking about. Our new friend from Nigeria, I'm trying to remember his name now, who told us is a web developer, knows what I'm talking about. Emmanuel knows what I'm talking about. Once the site is down, it could be as a result of an attack, so that the user from the other end, through a browser accessing the site, the site becomes inaccessible. So such attack is called denial of service. Any such attack on a digital resource that renders it inoperative is called denial of service. Please note that. So it could be physical, it could be electronic. You know what I mean? Like a website is not a physical resource. can be attacked using or SQL injection. The site becomes inaccessible or starts displaying content that are not meant to be. It's losing its availability, displaying what is not meant to display, or a database is grounded. So that's what called denial of service. That's like a very good example of denial of service attack is virus attack. Should virus infect your device and your operating system crashes, you have just, that computer just suffered what we call denial of service attack. There's now what we call distributed denial of service attack. What that means is that this attack is no longer coming from just one source. It's a galvanized form of attack in the sense that two or more devices are organized to launch similar attack on the same resource, so that you think you can survive one of it. When you now have myriads of attack coming from different sources on you, the server, you will be grounded. That's what we call distributed denial of service. We're still going to talk about this attack much more when we get to networking class. So you can protect the mitigation against it is to install an advanced firewall that can block illegitimate requests or traffic from entering the system. So, for instance, the attacker is launching, for operating systems now, and for your files in your system, you should install an antivirus, which will stop a malware from infecting your system, right? Okay. For that of email servers, you can put email filtering tools in your email server so that it can filter things like spam, Trojan, infected emails, and so on and so forth. So just put measures in place that can help detect the attack on time and what? And mitigate them. So I would say here that the best form of mitigation against the loss of availability or denial of service attack is what? Preventive security measures. Measures that can detect the attack before they become successful. Okay, we got power outage. Oh, those of us from Nigeria, we know we suffer this a lot. And okay, the system just goes off because light is disconnected. What happens to the system? Because it's gone off, it becomes unavailable. So what would you do in that case? Redundant power source like UPS, solar system, or usually that's the two components. Then you can have a backup generating plants as a mitigant against power outage. Then hardware failure. What do you do in the case of hardware failure? Because a hard disk can fail, the server can fail, network switch or router can fail, and all of this. So what do you do? What do you do? There are all called redundancy. Like, I want to be careful. When you put redundant, I want to be careful because the word redundancy grammatically means to be idle. But in cybersecurity, redundancy means to duplicate the same resource. You are in cybersecurity class now. Sorry, we can't avoid technical or buzzwords. We can't avoid technical jargons because we're going to use them. So redundancy grammatically means to be idle. For redundancy in tech, not just cybersecurity, means duplication. For instance, if you have same record, for instance, Abiodun has several records, 2 or more records in a database about Abiodun alone. We call that redundant data. That means there are duplication of accounts for Abiodun within our system. I hope you're getting me. Okay, another instance. Which, please, in the light of database, it is harmful. In the light of database, redundancy is harmful. The mitigation is normalization. Now, in the light of hardware, redundancy is helpful. It is not harmful. So, like having 2 or more servers, such that both servers, 2, 3 servers, are providing the same service, but one is active, the other is passive. We call it server clustering. What are you doing? You are creating a redundant copy of the active server. What we simply mean is that we have a server, a transaction processing server. We now choose to create a duplicate or multiple of that server. Now, the primary server will be active. The second server, which is now secondary, will have the same software like the primary server. But the reason we have that duplicate is such that should the primary server fail, the secondary server will what? Resume work from there. That practice is called what? Redundancy. But primarily we call it server clustering. It's a form of redundancy. So you can see redundancy in tech can be good, maybe bad. In database, it is not allowed, but sometimes it's permitted for some reasons. But in hardware, redundancy is allowed. It's a protective, resilient measure. I hope that is clear. So let's move on for quality today. Destruction of equipment like sabotage, willful destruction. So what would you, if it's sabotage, what mitigant would you put in place? It will be what? Restricting access. Abi? Okay. What if it is what? A natural disaster or inferno, for instance, or it's an accident? So what would you do to? You put redundant system in place, or you secure an insurance policy so that should the item gets destroyed, insurance can indemnify. Hope that is clear. Then we got service outage, like network. Yes, we lose network completely, like in telecom. Could be as a result of what? A hardware failure. So what do we still put in place? Redundancy comes here. You get me? We could have, for instance, like in telecom, a typical of telecommunication system, the BTS, the base station, the base transmission, I say BTS station, yes, the base transmission station, which is called mast. Sorry, I have to call it BTS for the class. But what you call it is popularly called mast, right? Mast do communicate wirelessly. One mast communicate with another mast using the cardinal points. Now, I just want to say this briefly. It's a bit advanced in networking. But then, because there may be some conditions that will lead to interference, like electromagnetic interference. There could be some EMIs emitting from a source, interrupting communication from one BTS to another BTS. So what do? We can now lay what? Fiber. So that should two or more BTS be unable to communicate with each other wirelessly, so they can now what? Route their traffic through fiber cable. Of course, so as to guard against what? Service outage. That's why you often see the layer of fiber cables, right? Fiber cables are laid. So that's mitigants against service outage. There's so many mitigations, control measures, security measures against service outage. I just cited one. So I don't know if you have any question. This is just no repetition. I might not be able to finish this. Okay, let me accommodate. I've said so many.
Yes.
We
Thank
have
you
just
so much.
okay.
Thank you so much. I was just about saying that, and I just dropped the chat that
Yes,
because we need to ask questions. Then I don't mind if we can go to the knowledge check session as well. That might also make people to come out of their shells. You know, I know we have some knowledge session at the we can also, you know, display those questions and ask them so that people can, you know, give their contribution based on the knowledge that they've acquired from this training. Thank you.
Okay.
And anybody that has any question, please feel free to ask. Thank you.
Okay.
You can go to the knowledge
If
session.
you have any questions, okay. Now let's look at this. Who would give us the answer to this? Who has the answer? Let's only look at this. What's the answer here? Question 1. You can go to the chat segment and put your answer there. Question 1, question 2. Okay, Abiodun said the confidential A. This is question 1. Internet said A. Okay. Thomas said A. Okay, let's look at question 2. Always
I think the majority has it.
Yes. Okay. Question 2. Yeah. It's a technical question, right? After an attack, we have suffered a loss of public confidence. Which leg of CIA? Which leg of CIA? Someone said A. Okay, sorry. Someone's A was to the first question. Sorry. I just said something. I definitely said A. That was the first question. So look at this question. It's a technical, and it's a tricky question. It's actually not technical, it's just tricky. We suffered a loss of public confidence. Which of these CIA was compromised? Okay, Thomas said number 2 is A. Okay. Do I just no, for question 1? All of you are correct. You said A. Abiodun said B. Abiodun said B. Okay, Hyperlogic said B. Olusegun said B. Okay. Are we getting any other response? Actually, it's B. Yes. The commonest attack on CIA is actually on C, not on I and B. Let me simplify that question. There was an attack. We suffered an attack that led to loss of public confidence. For instance, someone compromised our bank and exposed customer account details, phone numbers, address, names, or credit card numbers. What kind of attack is that? Who would answer that? Someone compromises an email server and exposes email addresses, exposes email content. Okay, Abiodun, let's hear you. What kind of attack is that? Want to say something?
Please, I didn't hear the question very well.
I'll take the question again. Someone compromises our bank and our bank server and exposes customer account details like account number, credit card details, account balances.
Okay, it's confidentiality.
Confidentiality. Okay. Another question again is that someone compromises an email server of a particular institution and email contents were divulged, email accounts, and not like the one that happened to Hillary Clinton and our Democrat Party. What kind of attack is that? What loss is that? Loss of condition integrity of element. I said that. What kind of loss is that? Email server was compromised and email contents were divulged. Of course, it's breach of privacy. We agree, but we are against breach of privacy yet. I will not answer that straight away, breach of privacy, until I teach you privacy. Okay. So what kind of attack is that? Email server was compromised, email addresses, email contents were divulged. What kind of attack is that? On what? C, I, or A? Liquid said integrity. Okay, who else is answering? Abiodun says confidentiality. No, Abiodun hasn't answered. Email server was compromised. Email addresses were divulged. Email contents were released. What kind of attack? Is it on CIA? Is it on C, I, or A?
Well, I'll choose confidentiality because I don't know, your question is not saying something about anything about modification. So I don't know.
Okay. Okay, let me answer. It's actually loss of confidentiality. It's an attack on confidentiality. Abiodun got the logic very correctly. That's how your questions are going to be. That's how questions are framed in professional exams. They are never straight. You now have to look at the question again. What is silent in that question? What is obvious in the question? What's obvious in the question is that contents were divulged, email address were divulged. The question did not say they were tampered. You might not see things like modify or alter the question. You might see things like tampered, things like they might even use the word change. But if I use some synonyms that will show that like tampering, will show that there's a loss of integrity. But if they say devolution, email contents were divulged, were exposed, getting like exposure. That's most of what confidential. So the question 2 here is what? Loss of confidentiality. We will suffer the loss of public confidence. Why? Because contents were divulged, contents were released. So that means you're not protecting what's in your our stuff in your custody, Abi. So we pass a vote of no confidence in this institution and walk away. So what the biggest attack there? Of course, content might be divulged, but most of the times, like I just said, the biggest attack, the biggest element in CIA that is attacked is most vulnerable to attack is C rather than I and A. So thank you, everyone. I will stop at this. There are other questions, but I've exceeded time now. So, Emmanuel, it's over to you so I can end the record. Do you have anything for us?
Excuse me, I was talking. I didn't know I was on mute. Please, can you stop the recording?
Oh,
thank you. Yeah. So thank you, everyone, for participating in today's training. I hope it's been valued for our time.